In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to use text in Teleport. I'm going to select the Elements tab, then I'm going to drag and drop my text element directly into my design canvas. Let's also add a heading element. Good. I'm going now to mark that this has been added with drag and drop. Now you can also drag and drop a text element directly into the tree inspector like this. So I'm going to say dragged into the tree inspector. You can also select a container, in our case this container, which is our content container, and I'm going to click once on the text element and it will be added as the last child. So I'm going to just mark that this has been added by being clicked. And my preferred way is to use a shortcut. I'm going to press now the T key and the text has been added as the last child of my container, and I'm going to just mark that this has been added with a shortcut. Editing a text is really easy. You just need to select the text element you want to edit, then you're going to double click, and I'm going to replace my current text with beautiful Transylvania. And again, I'm going to do that here as well, a paragraph about Transylvania. In Teleport, you can also use AI to generate your content. I'm going now to remove the last elements that we've added previously, and I'm going to rewrite this paragraph with AI, and I'm going to ask for 100 words about Transylvania. Great. And here I'm going to use another option. I'm going to make my title longer. I'm going to click now outside of the design canvas. By doing that, I'm removing the selection and I will have access now to my project design settings. I can access the color, the text, the layout, and the CSS variables. In this video, we're going to focus on the text tab. In this tab, by default, you have this line labeled content with a default field. And when you click on it, you will have access to all the settings that are going to be applied to all the texts of your project. So I'm going to change from Open Sans to Meriwether, and I'm going to change my line height from 1.15 to 1.5. As you can see, every single text has changed except this one that has its own override, which is another font, the Nonito font. But otherwise, every single font you can see here is having the Meriwether applied to it. In the previous section of this tutorial, we have learned how to set the defaults for all the texts in a given project. However, you can also change styles independently. I've selected here the heading, and I'm going to change the font to Arial Black. I'm going to make it black italic. I'm going to change the font size to 48 pixels, but this is a bit big, so I'm going to revert it back to 42. Line height is too big for me. I'm going to set it to 1.2. I'm going to add some letter spacing. I can play with the text transform and capitalize everything, make everything lowercase, just the first letter capitalized. I can underline. I can strike through. I can click on the left, but you won't see a difference because by default the texts are aligned to the left. But if I'm clicking the center, then the text is centered, and here is going to be aligned to the right. And we're going to use the justify on the paragraph because here there are only 2 lines. We wouldn't see any change. So I'm going to select the paragraph and click on the justify. So this is the impact that it will have. And going back to my title, I'm going to also change now the color. And if I want something more fancy, I can use a gradient. And I'm going to also change the gradient to have something that matches our colors. So I'm selecting the start of the gradient. I'm going for a green. And now I have a gradient for my text. And finally, I'm going to add a text shadow. When you select a text element, we're going to show you here a list of fonts. All these fonts are Google fonts. This is a selection we are making for you, but you might want to use a Google font that is not available here. If that's the case, you can go into the project settings like this. And from the project settings, you're going to be able to access the fonts tab. And in the fonts tab, you are going to be able to search for fonts that are not yet available in the platform. Let's take, in our case, the IBM Plex 100. I'm going to import it. So now we have the font available. I'm going to return back into the editor. And now we're going to be able to use it. There. In web development, semantics is really important, especially when it comes to search engine optimizations. Even though those are free texts, they have different functions. This one is the title of my card. So I can see here that it is a H1 heading, and you can change here the heading from this selector. So you can make it H2 or H3, depending on your case. This one is marked as being a span. Span is generally used for small portions of text, and this is our default, but given the nature of this text, I think this should be a paragraph. Finally, Transylvania is also a span, but it doesn't mean anything for a search engine, so I'm going to make it clear that this is a legend for my picture. In some cases, you might want to change the style of only one word inside of a paragraph. We can do that as well. So I'm going to select historical. I'm going to make it bold. I'm going to select region. I'm going to make it underline. I'm going to select Romania, and I'm going to give it a color. I'm going to select surrounding vampires, and we're going to give it a nice gradient, like this. And finally, I'm going to also add the link by pressing Command K or Control K on Windows. And I'm going to set the link like this towards an internal page. You can, of course, make links towards external pages as well. An important note here is that when you have a text that has received internal styling instructions, like we just did, then the icon here changes and lets you know that this is a rich text. And you also have the options of undoing this formatting by clicking on the Remove Formatting line here. To end this tutorial, I would like to show you a nice design trick with the float instruction. I'm going to select now my content container. I'm going to press I to add an image. I'm going to change that image, and I'm going to search for the brand castle. Perfect. I'm going to place my image on top of the text, and I'm going to group them together. I'm doing that by right-clicking here, and I'm saying group. Now, this container needs to be set as block, and the final instruction I need to add is the float instruction in the advanced tab. I'm going to type float, and I'm going to go for left. Great. As you can see, now my text, which is below the image, is nicely surrounding the image. And the only thing I need to do is add some margin so that the text doesn't stick to the image. So let's do that. I'm going to just go here, margin. I'm going to add 2 units and 2 units. Thank you for watching.